up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Hi, Bullhorn Betty. Thank you for my shirt. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Kids Club.
There is a lot of issues going on with this case that are now flooring detectives and the family. I've been monitoring the case of Sebastian Rogers. He's a boy that went missing in Tennessee. His mom has a message.
Love you so much, and we want you to come home, and you're not in trouble.
Search into the 15-year-old's disappearance has all failed. This is a boy that has autism. He's a high-functioning autistic individual, and the parents are coming under heavy fire right now because it is leading to believe that foul play is involved. But here is something that the stepfather had to say early on in the investigation.
Chris and Katie tell me they've been harassed, people pointing fingers at them.
You're not in this situation. You don't quite understand.
Many here in the public are just concerned about the well-being of Sebastian Rogers and would like to see him come home and come home safely. However, the boy has been missing for a significant amount of time, and now this particular case has led investigators to a landfill. Landfills appear to be the most promising place for parents to dump their children because this is not the first time. I was on scene at the Leilani case, and this was related to her 20-month-old son, Quentin Simon, which was found in a landfill. Leilani Simon is behind bars. Also, Elijah Vu. He has not been found yet. He's missing from Two Rivers, Wisconsin, and also the detectives and the investigators in this case have gone to the landfill and are currently doing a landfill search. Now that we know that foul play is perceived in this case, we're going to take a look at the parents' interview. Please stay tuned and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Bullhorn Betty channel here on TikTok. From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you advocating for each of these victims. God bless you, God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims. Well, hello, my beautiful coffee beans here on YouTube as well as X. It's nice to see you guys this morning. So we've been talking a lot about Sebastian Rogers. He's a 15-year-old autistic boy out of Sumner County, Tennessee. It's near Nashville, but it's not. And this case is kind of taken a life of its own because this boy is a high-functioning autistic boy that didn't run off. It sounds like through several of the interviews, by the language the parents were using, such as he was having a good day this day, or, he went to bed he didn't argue with me to go to bed. So obviously there is some indication that he can be a handful at times, but for the most part was always a good boy, a kind boy, a smart boy. It didn't appear that he had a whole lot of friends, probably due to his disability. And, when your child has a disability, you're a little more, you shelter your child a little bit more, so to speak, because you don't want anything happening to them or them being disadvantaged in any way. So coddling would probably be more in line. You coddle a child that has disabilities more so than a normal child, in my opinion, because you've got to be concerned about their mental health, their physical health. I mean, not that you're not concerned about children without autism that way, but I think you have a heightened level because you have to have more care for a child with autism. The house and everything, they look like they were fairly well-to-do. Chris Proudfoot is a heavy crane operator of some sorts and was working on a what was it, the Moffitt Center or some type of medical center, I believe is what it was. And either way, long story short is it on the outside, everybody looking in, this appears to be a normal family that probably has normal problems just like everybody else. And then boom, one day we wake up and their son is gone. And so a huge search, literally almost immediately, according to the mother, the whole street was lined up with law enforcement. The stepfather was having to come back home. We learned that Sebastian's biological father was involved in his life, loved his son. It wasn't like he had an absent biological father. His father was in his life. His father was about to get custody of him full time in the summer. And, again, I keep wondering, the reason. And I'm starting to feel, everybody's like, well, how did the mom feel about this custody arrangement? And, there's money coming out of the family now. She's not going to be getting the disability check. And, while that might be an issue, I don't anticipate that, this child was getting a whole host of money a month. It looked like that Chris was a well-bodied man that was, had a good job and a good income. It didn't seem like the money factor would be an issue, but just like everybody else, just because you make a lot of money doesn't mean you don't spend a lot of money. So could finances have been a problem? To be honest with you, at this point, we don't know. We can allege it could have possibly been an issue for the Proudfoots, losing whatever, child support or disability or whatever, but who knows? It could be, half of their income for all we know, we just really, really don't know. But what we do know is that he has been missing for a significant amount of time. There was no evidence from the searchers that even said this boy walked out of his home, which is what's concerning so many people, because now they have, even after going to a landfill, there was one potential hit on like a dumpster or trash receptacle, from my understanding, on a construction type of site near his home. Not sure how relevant that is. And we don't know if that was the only hit, if maybe it was possible that the dog hit incorrectly. That is common. It's not an uncommon phenomenon that a dog picks up on the wrong scent or a scent is moved. We talked about the dogs and the different types of dogs that there are and how they can't be cross-trained in many cases because they're so specific in their tasks. And but anyways, again, the dogs, there are issues. We learned in that that research that there are many variables that can make a dog hit wrong, from just poor training, their trainer not being ready, environmental changes such as wind, rain. All these things are factors in whether a dog can hit or not hit or anything like that. But what was most concerning is that the actual professional searchers are the ones that were really concerned. They're like, at this point, we usually have something. We have nothing, almost implying this child never even walked out of his home. Then we started seeing this video of potential flashlights going on, turning off, going on, and it appeared to be two different people moving around that appeared to be in the backyard. And we started discussing that. And I'm like, look, guys, I really don't know if this is a legit video. I have no clue. We haven't corroborated it. But Nick, I think his nickname is Nick Bears, with NC5, actually corroborated that video is a legit video from a neighbor. So we have corroboration that the video of these flashlights in the back of this house were legit. And he confirmed that the time was around 3 a.m. Now, this is causing even more heartburn because we all know that we were told Chris Proudfoot never made it home that weekend. We That is what's being said. But when Chris is asked directly where he specifically was, he refused to answer. But I have to be honest with you. He has been answering a lot of people's questions on social media. And so I decided, let's just this angle. What if there's more to this story? What if the parents are, we got body language experts that believe the parents. So what if, we're looking at the lens that we feel something's odd with the parents. We're looking at this from a sense of, our simplistic understanding of autism and the behaviors that we know, general behaviors such as they're not spontaneous, they need structure, they need schedules. They typically do the same thing over and over again every single day. It's what makes them thrive better in our environment is that structure. So for example, if an autistic child is, always puts their socks and shoes on before they leave the home, it's not something that they think about. It's almost instinctual, like just breathing for us. They just don't do it. So if he was going to willingly walk out of the home, he would have put his socks and shoes on instinctively. It wouldn't even have been a question. It wouldn't have even been a thought. It wouldn't have been, oh, I heard this noise outside. Let me go check on it. No, it's I heard this noise outside. Let me put my shoes and socks on and go check on it. You see what I'm saying? It just doesn't, it's not like he's going to pop up like we would and run right out the door and check on whatever noise it is or whatnot. So there's this whole thing with this flashlight. We're not quite understanding that. But we're going to be diving into a little bit more of this. I've got the phone lines that are going to be open if you guys want to call in as we're discussing this case. If something pops into your mind, if there's something that you want to explore, I've got a lot of information. I did do some sleuthing on Chris just to see who he was before all of this. And I found some, messages that he's posted, over the last 10 years. And so I wanted to bring some of those messages to you so we can kind of get an insight of, who Chris Proudfoot is. Who was he before this event? The things that we don't know about these people. Will it change our mind about, do we think that he is capable of something like this? We don't know these people. So naturally, us in the true crime community, we always look at everybody that's missing a loved one very skeptically, especially if they were the last people that saw that person alive, because the statistics lead us to that, and we need to resolve that before we move on, right? Because we know that is exactly what law enforcement is going to be doing before they move on. They're going to be looking directly at the parents because they're the ones that have the most contact and the most access to that missing child. So what was going on in and around this whole situation? And does it come to this whole custody situation that was just about to change this summer? Could that be a possibility? Could there have been more stuff going on inside the home that we don't know about? And if we don't know about it, how are we going to learn about it, right? So before we get started, I'm just going to go and say hi to everybody. Good morning to everybody that came in. But for some of the first people that came into the chat this morning, the real me too, good morning. Of course, I'm here, Gigi for life. Cynthia, it's nice to see you. Our resident defense attorney, Big Mac Mike, it's nice to see you. Our beautiful Sonia that makes us our beautiful custom items. It's nice to see you here this morning. Jules is in the house. Maddie Don, good morning. Old Rusty is up in the house this morning. Linda Lou showing her pride for being a member for 15 months. Yay! Yes, he is. Yes, he is. God bless you for that. God bless you for that. Who else do we have? CR, it's nice to see you. Just Deb, cool gamer. It's great to have you as well. Pete, it's nice to have you as always. Our beautiful Pebbles, TD Dean is up in the house. All of our beautiful people, our beautiful coffee beans are here. They're here. Allie, good morning, my love. Lady 7 Up, it's great to see you. Who else do we have up in the house? Nani, good morning, my love. I hope you're having a great day. And our beautiful Snow. It's nice to see you, my love. It's nice to see you. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you. So, what do we have here? Well, first, before we get really started, I think the best thing to go through right now is the most the release. Okay, there's a TBI release on this case. It was released yesterday, so some of you guys may have already seen it. Some of you might have been at work and haven't had time to catch up on this case. And so we're going to go through that. I think that's most important right now, just to see what information law enforcement is really willing to give us on this case, and pleasantly surprised they're doing a lot. They're doing a lot, but we know that they've got a lot of, this is a concern for everybody, obviously, with Sebastian missing. So this was an update that was provided yesterday. And they say on February 26, 2024, 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers disappeared from his Sumner County home, leading to a large-scale ground search that resulted in first responders covering about 2,000 total miles in their effort to find him. That's significant, okay? I think that that statement in and of itself tells us that he wasn't on foot and he's not out there, that something most likely happened, because if he just walked out his door, they would have found him in 2,000 miles. And of course, we see the TBI Amber Alert right here. And it says an Amber Alert has been issued on behalf of Sumner County Sheriff's Office for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Sebastian is a 15-year-old white male, 5 foot 5 inches tall, 120 pounds. With brown hair and brown eyes, Sebastian was last seen February 26th in the area of Stafford Court in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Sebastian was last seen wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants, and glasses. Sebastian has a medical condition that may impair his ability to return safely without assistance. If you have seen Sebastian or have any information regarding his whereabouts, please contact Sumner County Emergency Communications Center at 615-451-3838 or TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. Now, it looks like Bobby Simmons is the one that's handling that case with TBI, and Detective B. Carter is the one handling it for Sumner County Sheriff's Office. They also continue to say, we continue to work with Sumner County Sheriff's Office and the FBI, both proactively pursue information that may be relevant to the search for Sebastian, and to pursue any tips or pieces of information that come in. We have not forgotten about Sebastian. Much of the work currently being done is to bring Sebastian home may not necessarily be public or visible, but agents, detectives, and intelligent analysis continue to work around the clock to review every bit of information available. Sebastian's family has remained cooperative since the search has begun and have done whatever law enforcement has asked of them. So we're learning right now that Sebastian's family is being cooperative. So law enforcement is saying that they're being cooperative, but I just want to point out they have never said that either parent or all three of the parents, any of them, have been cleared. I just want to make sure that is, because we're going to be talking about a couple things related to whether they've been cleared later in this segment. At this stage in the investigation, there are a few clues to indicate what happened to Sebastian or where he may be. There is no proof at this time that there is any criminal element involved in his disappearance. But also, there is not any proof that there is not a criminal element involved. So agents and investigators are reviewing any possibility that at all that may indicate where Sebastian is. So in this statement here, it tells me right there, I don't see anybody at this moment being cleared, because again, they don't know if there's any criminal element involved in his disappearance or not. So if they can't answer that question, they wouldn't be able to necessarily, in my opinion, clear people. In order to preserve the integrity of the investigation, we cannot discuss many of the specifics surrounding the case, but we know how many people care about Sebastian and what has been done and still being done to bring him home. Also, we want to caution the public about putting too much stock into information being presented in various media forms that is inaccurate or incomplete and could be damaging to the investigation. I specifically think that statement is related to Nick Bear's release of that video. I don't think that law enforcement really wanted the public or anybody else to learn of that. So they're saying it's inaccurate or incomplete. But we did learn that that video is corroborated. And so that leads us to ask additional questions about the videos. And we're going to go through those here in just a little bit. We ask the public to help us by refraining from sharing speculation posted by or discussed by non-official sources and reporting only credible tips or information to 1-800-TBI. Now, I definitely don't think we should refrain from sharing speculation. That's what we do. But taking that speculation and reporting it, I think, is not a good use of law enforcement's time. We talk about things on this channel, and I know a lot of other creators talk about certain aspects of these cases on their channel. We do not. If we felt as a creator that something rose to the level of needing to be reported to law enforcement, we would ask the people we learn the information from to report that to law enforcement. If they refuse to, us as creators would most likely report that to law enforcement. So if we're bringing that to the audience, we don't need the audience also enlightening any law enforcement agency. So I just want to tell you that, especially for this channel, if you ever hear anything that's groundbreaking on this channel or breaking news, I can tell you that it would have already been, if I felt it had not yet been reported, I can promise you before it's ever ran on this channel, it would have been reported to authorities. Information that has been released by TBI and or Sumner County Sheriff's Office throughout the investigation, including a list of frequently asked questions, can be reviewed below. So here is the frequently asked questions. What areas have been searched? Within the several few days of the search, more than 2,000 miles were searched on foot. Many of these areas were intentionally searched and searched again. Law enforcement officers have searched the neighborhood, surrounding neighborhoods, schools, and many other areas in the county by foot. Bloodhounds and handlers have searched the same areas. There have been aerial searches with helicopters, drones, and a fixed-wing plane. These area searches have been conducted on multiple days and multiple nights using thermal imaging technology. Sebastian's residence, the yard, the house, the vehicles, all have been searched multiple times. The neighborhood where Sebastian lives has been canvassed. Neighbors' house have been searched. Sebastian is autistic, and his family says he is drawn to water. Pools in the neighborhood were searched. Dive teams were brought in bodies of water around the neighborhood and beyond that area were searched, including caves. Didn't realize about the caves. Another question. What about the technology aspect? Have you collected security video from area homes and businesses? Have cell phones been checked? The answer is many neighbors and businesses have provided videos from home and business surveillance systems. We are grateful for that cooperation. The video has been collected, and from the beginning of the investigation, it says the video has been, I don't know why maybe that's a typo. Maybe they said the video, but it says the video has been collected, and from the beginning of the investigation has been analyzed and enhanced where possible by tech experts with TBI, FBI, and Secret Service. So they have a lot of big resources involved in this case. To date, nothing gathered from these video systems has been determined to be significant. We do caution that some surveillance video being shared in the public may have been misrepresented or misidentified or not shown in its entirety. And I think that's what they're hicking up. This is the second time they talk about incomplete or in its entirety. And I think that's what they're keeping because I don't think they wanted that video released. It has been determined that it does not hold any evidentiary significance to the investigation. I do not believe that, because in a trial phase, they are going to absolutely use it. Numerous search warrants have been executed, cell phone data been analyzed, and any other available digital evidence has been collected, searched, and documented. Information was collected from Sebastian's gaming system and has been analyzed. With help from the FBI, vehicles that were placed in the area at or around the time of Sebastian's disappearance have been accounted for. These videos and all the electronic evidence that has already been reviewed is often also being reinvestigated. So how can we have cleared people if they keep reinvestigating this stuff and combing over additional information and stuff like that? Especially with the mom. There's no way they're going to be able to clear that mom until they know what happened to Sebastian, especially since she appears to have been the only one physically home at the time he went missing. The search for Sebastian has not stopped. Every day, tips and leads are investigated. People are being interviewed and re-interviewed. That right there tells you there's nobody being cleared if people are being interviewed and re-interviewed. And I can guarantee some of those re-interviewers are the parents, the Katie and Chris, because they may find something and have to re-question them about something that they found. Evidence that has been received once already is being gone over again. We continue to ask residents in the area of the search to keep an eye on their property to see if anything may have been moved or displaced. Is this a place where a child could have hidden? If you have property, so they still think there's a possibility that he ran away and is scared and hiding. If you have property that has ledges or holes that a teenager might find interesting, and you can't search it yourself, please contact the tip line and we can have someone check it out for you. If you know Sebastian and have information about him, what he likes, how he acts, that you think could be relevant, let us know. We know how many people are how many people are so very invested in getting Sebastian home. We will update this information as there may be any developments. Please use the tip line 1-800-TBI-FIND to provide any relevant information you might have, or send that to tbi@tbi.tn.gov. And finally, we are extremely grateful to so many members of Sumner County community for the time, attention, and prayers being offered to help find Sebastian, the members of multiple law enforcement communities, emergency management personnel, wildlife organizations, so many other groups, along with the very generous businesses and individuals who have provided well wishes for Sebastian, along with water, food, and other comforts to searchers. All these contributions are greatly appreciated. Thank you. And then there is Sebastian right there for people that need to look at him. So obviously there's a lot of unknowns, without a doubt. I'm going to go back and look at some of your comments here in just a second, because when I was on that screen, I couldn't see anything. There's a lot of unknowns when it comes to this case, and we don't know the parents, and we don't know what his life was like, and we hope that everything seems normal, but we also know, coming from the true crime industry, what looks normal on the outside doesn't necessarily mean it's normal on the inside. Does that mean it applies to this case? No, it doesn't mean it applies to this case at all. These parents could absolutely be telling 100% the truth, that the mom woke up and has no clue what happened to her son. And there are many professionals that believe the Proudfoots are being honest when they're saying these things. But there's a few things that are still very perplexing to me. For example, they said the door was locked. They said the door was locked when they got up that morning. Does he have a key to get in and out of the house? And if so, has that key accounted for? Because there's only one way to lock a door, and usually that's a key, unless you have a keypad. Now, did he, hit the keypad? That's a possibility. But I would like to know more about that, because later down, windows locked too. Yeah, Allie, great point. Were the windows locked? How, if somebody was to get into the house or try to get him out of the house, how would that happen? My other issue with this is the fact that I feel like if he walked out of the house, there would have been some type of security camera that picked up some type of movement, whether or not they could see the movement or identify the movement. I would think that they would, with some lights, they may just see a little like blurb that walks across there, even though they can't identify who the person is. What did they see? So there's got to be some type of video out there that shows some type of movement other than this backyard. If we have this backyard, this dark backyard video that shows movement, shows light, like little flashlights turning on and turning off, which I believe that's what it is. It surely does look like that. And it surely does look like these things are kind of, one's on constantly and one's going on and off, as it appears that somebody appears to be moving. So we could see that, right? We couldn't see a damn thing in that video, but what we could see is movement. Another thing I have a problem with is, while I know this is Tennessee, and I know that I believe it was pretty cold. We have a lot of children disappearances, Elijah Vu up in Wisconsin, a significant time away from Tennessee. But we know that in and around this time frame, it was pretty cold outside in those, northern states. So I'd have to assume that it was chilly, in that area at the time. I'm Florida, so what does chilly mean to me versus somebody else, right? Well, it depends on where you are, because chilly to somebody in South Dakota is much different than somebody that considers something chilly from Florida. So the other thing that I found just a tad bit odd is the fact that mom and dad, and I don't know if anybody else picked up on this, but mom and dad appeared to state that their son was in all black. Of all things to, walk out the door and go missing in, all black. Black pants, black long sleeve shirt. You should not be speculating this. You are exactly what happened. Professionals warned about. Oh, shut up. Why are you on the true crime if you don't want any information? And how dare you come on my channel and tell me what I can and cannot do? This is America. If you don't like it, please get away. Go up, go somewhere, get out, and goodbye. Don't come in my channel. Let me tell you something. This is, don't be a Richard. If you don't like true crime, why are you watching it? Okay. Don't be an idiot. And if I offend you by calling you an idiot, oh, well, don't be an idiot. It's pretty simple. By the way, don't forget to hit your like button. Don't forget to hit the like button, right? Oh, some idiot telling me you shouldn't speculate. Take those bleeding hearts someplace else. Get off true crime. You literally have no business being here. If that's what you think. Like, literally get off YouTube. You're an idiot and don't deserve YouTube. Oh my God, she hurt my feelings and Betty's bad. Well, don't be a dick. It's pretty simple. One freaking rule. An asshat can't even listen to one stupid rule. Anyways, so getting on to this. Now we're learning that the FBI is involved. We're learning that the Secret Service is involved, and we're learning that they're not getting any hits from scent. My issue is, if he walked out of that home, there would be a scent. So that's my first problem right there. My second problem is there are 2 flashlights. Okay. My third problem is Chris Proudfoot was in an RV, staying at some campsite while he was working in Memphis. He has an RV. So that tells me he's not in a hotel that can monitor him. He's in an RV. Is there any cameras at the RV park where he's parked? That's going to be obviously one of my questions. This happened, according to this Nick Bears, this video was about 3 o'clock in the morning. When you time this, it still gives stepdad enough time to get back to work to start his day. So again, there are some major red flags when it comes to Sebastian's mom and stepfather. And we have to remember, if everything is true, as the parents say, mom would have been the only one home with her son. Mom says she went to bed at midnight. And it takes 2 hours and 15 minutes to 3 hours to get home, depending on traffic. It seems awfully funny that at midnight, Chris had enough time to drive home to be there by 3 and had enough time by 3 to go back to work. Okay. Now, does that mean that's what happened? Of course not. Of course not. Am I alleging that that's what happened? No. But there are a lot of people that have questions either for this family or against this family. And I'm just going to put all the information out. Now, is there some other sides to this? Yes, there are. And we're going to get to that. We're going to get to some text messages that Chris has had over the last few years and what his demeanor was like. And maybe it'll give you guys a different perspective of who Chris Proudfoot is, right? Because right now we're looking at this saying, holy crap. Mom says she went to bed at 12. That gives enough time for dad to get home, to have those lights in the backyard. You stepdad to get home, to have those lights in the backyard, and to be off back to his work to do a full day's worth of work before he gets a call. Is there a garage? Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Something is definitely not right. But just because we see flashlights on the outside of the home, you can't see who it is. We know a child is missing. This could be evidence of something else going on around his house at the time. Maybe he did get up. Maybe he did hear somebody outside of his home. Maybe he went to go investigate it because he wasn't, he's an autistic boy that's not thinking clearly that of the dangers. Maybe he did instinctually get up and did walk out of the house without his shoes and did take a flashlight out there to investigate who was outside of his home in his backyard. And maybe it has nothing at all to do with the parents. That's the beauty of speculation. There could be more possibilities here. A lot of people are focusing directly on the parents because the statistic tells us that parents can do terrible things. There's a lot of dangers inside of our homes by the people that we love, and that usually we need to be looking at the last person that's seen that person alive. I mean, that is kind of our protocol. So that's leading us right to the front door of Chris and Katie Proudfoot. But just because those statistics are what leads us there, we still need more than just statistics for that allegation to hold water. Who was Chris Proudfoot? We're hearing that he was an abuser. Yeah, 2 light sources. Yeah. Which kind of almost imply mom and dad, mom and stepdad. And that's why I pointed out that that stepdad had enough time to get home and had enough time to do whatever needed to be done and had enough time to get back to work. He absolutely had enough time. So there's no ifs, ands, and buts or buts about it. Did he have enough time? If he truly was in Memphis and did not come home that weekend, would he have had time to get to work, to go to work, or to be at his RV, come home, help his wife, and head back to work to act like nothing ever happened? Yes, he does have the time is there, in my opinion, from what the mom says of her going to bed at midnight. They are sus, Bonnie. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But, that's because we don't know them. Like, for example, if somebody's told me that my mom hurt somebody, it's and the whole world was breathing down our neck saying, your mom. And it's like, I know my mom. You're not gonna argue with me as to whether my mom did this horrible thing or not. Of course she did. So we also have that too. We just don't know these people. So naturally, because we don't know their behaviors, they can be suspects to us. But however, had we known them and known them their whole life, our perception of this might be different, where we say there is no possible way. I don't care what you say. I don't care how this looks. There's no possible way. But again, we don't know these people, so we can't bring that up. We can only bring up what we feel in our emotional situation. And when we start feeling those emotional things, it's based upon our information that we've learned, statistics. So I thought it'd be kind of interesting. I've got a few things that I do want to go over, but I also want to go over this. And I think now would be a great time to kind of dovetail over to the text messages. Are these them? Yeah, I think these are them. The text messages. Let me get these up so I can make sure you guys can see them. There we go. So we got some stuff, and like I said, Chris has been speaking to people. Chris has been communicating. So this was one of the things, and it says, have you read the latest news here? May answer some questions. And it says, yes, that has happened and results are passed. They were asking if they had taken a polygraph test. And they're saying that they have passed the polygraph test. And anybody can tell you they passed a polygraph test because law enforcement is not going to release that information. So it's whenever people tell me they passed polygraph tests and the fact that they were inadmissible in a court of law, I don't really put a whole lot of stock in them. However, here's some of the comments that we had here. It says, my husband and myself have been praying since day one. I couldn't imagine. And this is to Chris. I'm sorry for everything you and your family are going through. I'd give anything to take away y'all's pain, bring Sebastian home to his family. I'm a mother myself, and it breaks my heart so bad. I wish there were more I could do to help. I pray at night for the Lord to bring Sebastian home or give someone a sign to where he is, and goes on to that. Give me just a second. And here's the insight. Okay, that was out of order just a little bit. So here's the insight. I want you to read some of these things, these statements that Chris has put out there over the years. This was one that was in 2017. He talks a lot about his daughter and how he misses his daughter. You can really see the love of his child throughout these posts. And this one says, I miss her so much. I love her with all my heart. I hope she knows deep down that her daddy is and will always be there for her. 2 hours isn't long enough, but at least it's something. So he's talking about his visitation. He only gets 2 hours visitation. I can't wait until tomorrow morning as well. I get to have her back in my arms again where she belongs. She is my world and the one true meaning of my life. Daddy loves you, Faith. So it seems like he's and this is from 2015. So it's time to finally say goodbye to all my friends in Virginia. Take care, everyone. You will all be missed, some more than others. If you're guessing if that's you, then that's sad. I'm off to California for a fresh start. Once again, I can't wait. Worst part is being so far from my family, but this is my life. I love you all and will miss you very much. So in 2015, he's making the trip from Virginia over to California. And again, just seems like a fairly normal guy, doesn't seem very hot under the collar. But one thing that is noticeable is he's having failed relationships all over the place, right? And he's going from one side of the country to another side of the country, most likely because of those failed relationships. So we have to look at that as well. Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful day, especially since we all woke up. I just wanted to take a minute and let everyone know that I'm grateful and blessed to have such amazing family and friends. Thank you to all of you who wished me a happy birthday. I know this only seems like words, but please know that I'm truly grateful and blessed for all of your wishes and happy birthdays. Love you all close and far. Seems like a nice guy, right? Seems like a nice guy. This is one that's more recent that he had posted, and this has been since after Sebastian. I can't remember. I did pull this off and said, I don't think this could be said any other better way. A man's cry for help. He may not cry for help, but if you listen to the music he plays, how fast he drives, how hard he tries to work the pain away, you'll hear the scream of a dying man. And then here's more recent statements. And this is the one that's causing the most problems with everyone. And this is where he's not really wanting to tell people where he was. And this is a problem for me, because why would you not want to tell people where you were when your child went missing? How could that possibly derail the investigation in one aspect? I mean, you're asking the public to help, and the public is looking squarely at you because our intuition and our instincts are telling us to look at the parents. And then when we finally get access to the parents and we're asking, hey, can you resolve this one lagging issue so we can move on? Where were you, Chris? Were you at home or were you in Memphis? Where were you? Did you come home that weekend or not? And his response to that question is, last I saw Sebastian was early February. I cannot give the actual date. Law enforcement has told me to not provide dates to the public as it could cause problems in the investigation. Please understand. I don't understand how it can cause problems in the investigation when we're trying to provide leads and tips to the investigators. And if we're going to provide tips and leads to the investigators, do we need to be reaching out to people in Memphis to start looking at their video footage to find out where Chris was? Because he's refusing to tell. I mean, this is social media. There's web sleuths out there a hell of a lot better at their job than me, right? But they will find out. So why make it difficult? Would you rather have accurate information out there to the public or inaccurate information out there to the public? Because this is a pivotal moment when people think that you came home and helped do something with this child, and then you're refusing to answer. But again, we just went through a whole bunch of text messages that seem like this man is a normal guy that loves life and is thankful for his family and thankful for his friends, and is blessed to know them and is blessed to have the life that he has. Wonder if Mom and Sebastian went to stepdad's campground Sunday. From my understanding, and this is just my understanding, there's enough evidence that state that Mom and the son were definitely there Sunday and had been seen in several different locations that Sunday until they got home between about 5 and 6 p.m. from my understanding. And as hard as we're going to see some people looking and requesting information to find out and determine whether anybody saw this kid after mom and him returned home from dinner, because they said the cameras had picked them up coming in. So we know there's cameras. We know, and this is maybe what law enforcement does not want people to know, and but we're going to find out. So they need to start trying to funnel information better, because if they don't want it out there, they need to be telling people they don't want shit out there, because people are going to put it out there. They're just going to. So Melissa's asking, wonder if mom and stepdad went to the campground. I don't think that's probable. Is it possible? Yeah, I guess at this point anything's possible, but it just doesn't seem like there's enough facts to support that they left the area to go to Memphis. I have followed everything going public about Sebastian, and at first I thought the parents did something to him. After taking my take after seeing the ring video, and I didn't open that one up any wider. Maybe I did down here, but I don't think I did. And this is explaining that, yes, he was in an RV. Yeah, they're trying to find out where he parked his RV and where he stayed in Memphis, but they haven't gotten any answers yet. That's something I haven't thought about. There's a video of Sebastian. Here it is. There's a video of mom and Sebastian coming home that evening. But did they leave again? People are wanting to know, did they leave again? Is there any video Ring doorbell footage of them leaving? So we definitely know that there are Ring doorbell videos out there that show their comings and goings from that home. So that's good. That's good information that tells us there's a digital trail. There's eyeballs out there watching and monitoring. They just need to go through all of that, which is a task in and of itself. So people keep going on and keep wanting to know what the campsite is. I live down the road, and he was at his friend's house during the day Sunday. So even a neighbor is saying, I saw him that day. So I think the idea that he was at the campsite in Memphis, I think there's enough evidence here that they were in Hendersonville. And so, and people are just curious. They're wanting to know. Now, here's where I kind of disagree. Have you both taken polygraph test? And if so, what were the results? And Christopher says yes, and the results are passed. And then, of course, Mary underneath it says, who can confirm that? Because just like me, we all know it's very difficult to confirm results like that. Law enforcement doesn't tell us that. Nobody tells us that, because, they don't even acknowledge, the polygraph. They only use it as an investigative tool. They don't use it for court in any way. And it says, I keep seeing people commenting that they saw his light. So this is neighbors. So we're getting a little more detailed information about what's going on in and around the time that he disappeared. So although mom said she went to bed at midnight, it appears, and we'll have to go back and confirm that his light went off Sunday in his room at 9 p.m. So he was in his room at 9 p.m. But the question is, how do you know it was Sebastian? Did he even make it home Sunday evening? That's all. I have to venture to say, yes, he did make it home Sunday evening, because we have neighbors corroborating the fact that they saw him there after they went to dinner. And there is video evidence seeing them come home. So I think that kind of answers itself. More information. He might have left out back and taken out back. If there's only construction remodeling going on in the back, no cameras would have caught him/them. And Amber's writing, the morning he went missing, mom posted in neighborhood chat asking if anybody had seen Sebastian. Someone thought they saw him. Turned out it wasn't him. Mom asked, did he have on shoes? And did he have a flashlight? Neighbor said the flashlight was a comfort or sensory item. Can't remember which, but it doesn't work as a flashlight. He rubs the strings attached to it. As far as being seen on camera, I just heard on one of the interviews Dad did. could have been the Pascal show. So I'm not sure about that. Here's another statement from Chris Proudfoot. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for your interest in helping and searching for my stepson. Yes, they still search, just not as the presence of the first 8. What? Yes, they still search, just not as the presence of the first 8 days. It turned more investigation now. There has not been anything to suggest foul play, but there's nothing that has been taken off the table either. Our prayers and thoughts for the community are out there, and can't thank you enough for what you are all doing. So again, I just a lot of mixed feelings here. You know, we're kind of seeing an insight. I'm looking at a different side of Chris. You know, when we see those horrible, court filings from his significant other that he's in a custody battle over, and most likely child support and other financial stuff that he would, those things, we all know those things do get a little tense, and people say a lot of things because they're fighting their case. So is this a situation like that where, maybe we're giving him a bad name? Maybe we're seeing this New Mexico situation differently than it really is. Or maybe he's just a bad guy that can fool a lot of people because he's been this abusive man for so long that it just comes easily for him to put up this facade and look like this good guy. We don't know. I don't know them. So we're trying to put this together, and we try, because these are parents, we try to be somewhat, respectful, but until we know something. But this is another case where we have a lot of feelings, but no corroborated information leading us one way or another. And nobody really coming out and really trashing these parents either. Like they've seen them abuse this child, or they've heard them fighting a lot from the house, or, those things, those red flags that we typically hear and see when we're dealing with this. We haven't heard or seen those things. I'm interested about that. These neighbors are obviously posting, video surveillance out there anonymously for people to get a hold of. So why aren't they putting out, their experiences with the family, either good or bad, just so we can kind of get an idea of who these people are? That would really be beneficial for people like me. But, either way, this one is, they did in pass. So people are asking about the lie detector, and people, again, are passing around this information that they passed without one scintilla of information or corroboration that they actually did pass these polygraph tests. And I'm just going to say, I don't know whether they passed them or not. And will we know? No, we will not, because nobody's going to tell us. And it even says, have you read the latest news from TBI? Here's the link. It may answer some of your question. And yes, that has happened, and results are passed. So even in this, they're almost implying that this statement from TBI states that they passed. It does not. It does not. So there you guys have it. That is, text messages. And it's those earlier text messages, the ones from 2015, 2017, 2022 that we read, that really puts Chris Proudfoot in a different light for me. He seemed like a nice guy. He seemed like a normal guy. So I'm really uncertain how this goes. And if everything's accurate, that means mom was alone with this child. Was this child too much for her to handle? Did she have emotional attachment to her son, where her son going to his father's, or his father getting custody of his son, was just making mom lose her stuff, and she just couldn't handle somebody else having her boy? Is she that kind of mom? She doesn't appear to be. But we don't know. We literally have no clue. If I had to trust my gut, I have to say the parents are involved. But looking at the facts of this case, it doesn't lead us one way or the other. It really doesn't. So I just thought I'd throw that out there, give you a little insight, let you guys see a little bit behind the curtain when it comes to Chris Proudfoot, because I think we're kind of beating him up a little bit. He seems like he's been knocked around and kicked on his ass, and still finds a way to try to be a little bit jovial and try to bring joy to people around him. You know, prior to this, you know, I mean, we have to look at past behavior. And right now, everybody's focused on his divorce and his custody proceedings, which we all know are always intense, emotional. A lot of people throw around heavy accusations in those types of proceedings, you know, for a lot of reasons, whether it's to get custody or financial reward or something like that. We know custody and divorce situations, we know, get nasty, okay, or can get nasty. He's saying that that's what the situation is. This is a situation where he's going through a nasty custody battle. All right, well, let's take him for face value. He's not this monster. Let's go find out if he's a monster when nobody's looking. But, you know, on that same vein, we've got to remember that people sometimes aren't who they say they are online. You know, they put on a completely opposite persona online than they actually have in real life. So again, there's a yin and a yang in this case. So what is it? We don't know. And so that's why we speculate. That's why we theorize. And we pray that, you know, while we're going through this process and learning about this case, that more information enlightens us and gives us a direction. But to say that these parents are cleared, I don't see how. First and foremost, I don't see how. Especially, I mean, at the end of the day, they might be able to clear the stepdad. I mean, if he truly was someplace else, he truly was someplace else. But how would they ever clear mom? They're never going to be able to clear mom until they find out what happened to Sebastian. Because mom was the only person alone with him in the house, according to their statements. How are they going to prove this woman had nothing to do with her son? They can't until they find out what happened to him. So maybe Chris is cleared, but I don't see any way in my mind how mom could be cleared with the information. Well, hello, Smiley. How are you doing, my love? I hope you're doing well. I miss you, my friend. I haven't seen you in a long time. I think a couple years now. We need to figure out what we're going to do for our beautiful summer. It's hard, and this is in your neck of the woods too. You know, that just kind of sucks. It just really sucks, and I don't know which way to go with this, Smiley. I got to be honest with you. I really don't, because you know, it's either or. I mean, it could be the parents, it could be somebody else. Now, if we were going to look at this from the lens of, hey, Reggie, it's nice to see you. If we're going to look at the lens of, you know, maybe somebody else did this, who could do this? Now, I don't believe the father, the bio father, did it. I mean, to me, it doesn't have any red flags that exist. But you know what? Me and the behavior panel haven't been seeing eye to eye on these last two cases, but I might be analyzing them wrong. You know, I noticed that I'm a little more emotional in the last two cases in my analysis, and not wanting to be too heavy-handed, because, you know, I just feel like these were pretty rough cases. But in all fairness, you know, if they didn't have anything to do with it, who could? And the only other thing I can think of, to be honest with you, is kids from school, you know, playing a prank that ended up hurting this boy. I mean, that literally is the only thing that crosses my mind that helps explain why these parents aren't responsible and why this boy walked out of his home. I feel like, you know, in order to coax him out of the house, it would have to be a familiar face. He is not going to just, it'd have to be somebody familiar to him. I think that out of all of this, no matter how this case winds up, whatever happened was from a familiar person, in my opinion. It would have to be. It would have to be somebody that already has his trust. So it's got to be a kid from school, or it's got to be his family. I don't really see it being too much of anything else. I don't see it being a stranger danger issue. I don't see it being somebody that walked into their house and kidnapped this kid. I don't see that happening here. And the other thing that I just want people to focus on before we close out is that there was another statement, there were several statements that had me a little, with Chris and Katie. But this is really the one that kind of just stings a little bit, and it just bothers me, and it's been nagging at me and gnawing at me for days. And it was when they did the interview and they only recorded their hands. There was something, that interview clarified a lot more, in my opinion. They were able to ask him about, with the door locked, unlocked, all this other stuff. And that's where I learned that this door, the front door, was locked. So my first question is, and that's what I came in with the intro and said, who has a key? Does he have a key to get in? Is it a combo type of doorknob, which it might be? I mean, they live in a really nice house. Was it a door, a combination doorknob where he just had to hit the lock button and lock the door? Or was this a key turn type of, how did he usually access and come in and out of the house when the house was locked or unlocked? I want to hear those behaviors. But one thing that we heard, and I think it's a key lock because of something that Chris Proudfoot said. Katie says that when she got up that morning, the doors were all locked. And that's why she thought her son walked out the door. The doors were locked. But Chris said that in that interview, what did he say? He said something to the effect of, the lights are on and the door is unlocked for you to come home. And I'm thinking, well, if he locked the door leaving, how could he not unlock the door coming back? And so that statement's been kind of gnawing at me for a little minute when it comes to this particular case. And I just keep wondering, does this boy let himself in and out of the house? Because again, he's autistic. So we have to look at his behaviors and what behaviors he typically has, because if he typically has those behaviors, those are the behaviors he's going to have on this particular day. Again, autism is not a spontaneous disability. It's one that needs structure, and it's one that needs a schedule, like the same thing happening over and over again to thrive. So you need a key to unlock from the outside. He locked it on his way out. Then why would they need to leave the door unlocked for his way in? That would be my question. So that statement to me that Chris said just kind of, didn't sit right with me. I don't know why. And again, I'm looking at this. I'm really trying to look at who Chris was as a person. And he seems like a nice guy. But if everything's true, that means his wife would have been home. Did something happen with his wife and her son? And she call him for help, and he come back at 3 a.m. in the morning to help her with the problem and try to keep her out of trouble. I mean, she is very emotional, which is what we want to see. She's crying. You can clearly see the tears. She looks really emotional. She looks like this is really bothering her. Chris is answering questions, even tough questions. He's trying to stay engaged with the people online, even though everybody's beating him up, and he's still trying. Those are things that I like seeing. I mean, in all fairness, if I were to look at this analytically, those are, in all fairness, the behaviors I want to see in parents. But somebody's also telling me in the back that they haven't been searching. They haven't been really participating in anything when it comes to Sebastian in the public. But the bio dad has. So that's giving me so again, it's perspective, and here are the facts, and I don't know how to analyze them for you, but there are red flags and there are good flags. You know what I'm saying? There's bad flags in this case, and there are good flags in this case. There are some things that I'm saying, this is what I really want to see in parents that are missing a child. But on the other hand, there are things that they're doing that I'm saying, hey, this is not really boding well with what I expect from them. So I don't know, but there you have it. There's a slice of Chris, of who he was before this event. He seems like a normal guy. So I'm interested in your comments. Don't forget, when this show ends, go to the channel that you're watching this on and provide comments. What do you think happened? Do you think the parents are involved? And if so, why? What's leading you down that path? This will help me. If you have a lead or a tip, or some information, first I'm going to tell you to call law enforcement. And if you've already done that, or you've heard something and it doesn't rise to the level of you needing to call law enforcement because it's not your place to do so, and you don't want to cause more complications for law enforcement, you can send all that information over to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. That's bullhornbetty@gmail.com. And I'm interested in learning more about this case, learning more about the parents. I don't want to unnecessarily beat up parents. I think that's becoming a common practice here on social media. When we think it, we just act, and we start doing horrible things to people without enough evidence to do so. We can think one thing, but you know what? Thinking one thing and shitting the other, and see what fills up faster. You don't have a right to attack people because you think they might be guilty. Because at the end of the day, you could be wrong and you're attacking a victim. We do not do that. And anybody that's engaging in that, please stop. It's not necessary. It's not good. It does nothing for anybody. It causes a lot of hurt feelings. And these families need help. They need social media to get their stories out there, especially when they're being hindered by their own media in their area. And while this case is getting national attention, there's a lot of cases that it takes social media for them to get that national attention. So we don't want people being hindered by coming to social media when they need help. And so what we can do as a public is talk about these cases in this chat room and leave them in these chat rooms. Go to the discussion groups on Facebook and discuss them. But do not be reaching out to these families with threats. First of all, I'm a law and order person, and that is a crime to me. That is a crime in the law. You making those threats is committing a crime. A crime. When has two wrongs ever made a right? They don't. So let's keep all of our commentary. I don't care what you say. You guys know my belief. If families that are missing loved one needs to identify a friend or a family member that can go through the chats. I never recommend families of the missing being in these chats, being in this information. But if they have the guts for it, they can probably find out some information. But I have to tell you, it's very traumatizing when you are missing a loved one and you're hearing the things that we're talking about in these chat rooms. It is traumatizing to these families, and I understand that. And that's exactly why I always caution these families, make a go-to person for the social media stuff that's kind of removed slightly from the emotions of the case, because these families, when they hear some of these discussions, like we're talking about Chris may not even have done a damn thing. And here we're talking about all of his business being in the spotlight. It's traumatic. It's traumatic. It's traumatic. So especially if they had nothing to do with any of this, it's traumatic. But we're not going to stop doing it. So, they need to understand they have to have a point person to help remove them from these social media platforms. But I still believe that everybody should keep it in the chats. no matter what your opinion is, whether you're for them, whether you're against them, whatever, it needs to stay in the chat because people need to have an outlet to get their feelings and stuff out about the cases because these things are emotional for people. And when they hear them, sometimes it even elicits their own personal traumas. So they have to have an outlet. So I think the chats are great, not just for the case and snowballing and speculating and theorizing what could have happened. I think it's good for an outlet, and it keeps people out of off their phones and out of their emails. And that's what it's designed to do, is to keep you away from the victims or the suspects. We're here discussing it. There's no need for you to be reaching out to these people. There's no need to be threatening these people. If they are responsible, they are going to meet their just desserts. And at that point, that's when we show up at the court hearings and stuff like that and demanding answers. But right now, if we had more information, like Chris was home at the time, we found out he lied. Now that is enough for us to start saying, why did he lie? Now we're getting into something where we could start pointing the finger. We have none of that yet. It's premature to be pointing the blame at anyone right now. But if I had to have my gut is saying that there is either one or two possibilities, and it's either the parents or somebody from the school. That's it. So will either one of those hold water? I don't know. There's just him making all these weird behaviors that day. You guys kind of know where I'm leaning. I'm going to be leaning toward the person that last saw him alive. Unfortunately, that's just the way my brain thinks. That's the way I'm leaning until information becomes available that satisfies that, where I can move on to something else. I'm going to trust my gut in this and trust the information that I have. And that's leading me to believe something happened inside that home. And people are saying, something about evidence. First of all, if something did happen inside that home, it's called forensics. And we all know it takes several weeks for forensic results to come back. So I have to anticipate that if there is anything in that house, it's going to take at least a couple weeks or longer to realize those results. So I guess we'll see what happens, here in the near future. But that's the information I have. I'm not done sleuthing this case yet. But that's what I was able to find. I did a few hours of research in this case, some more of a, under surface, deeper dive than what we've been doing. And that's the information that I have. So you guys have a great Saturday. Thanks for being with me today. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Guys, we're converting back to the main channel. So I know we have a lot of new faces on the Crime Stories side channel. If one of my mods can throw the main channel up in chat, I want to make sure that anybody that's watching the replay that's not on our main channel gets over there. We're still going to be doing shows on the Crime Stories side, but over the next week or so, we need to get everybody kind of moved over to our main channel, because that's going to be where we're going to be doing our coffee club, our morning show. And we're going to try to do something different on this one. I don't want to be running the same exact stuff on both channels. We can. And quite frankly, both channels are getting about the same amount of views on both sides. So it is good to do that. I may continue depending on if it's, if people are still, 50-50 on the channel. But I'd really like to have everybody on the coffee club back on our coffee club channel and use this one for our crime stories, which we have enough stuff going on in this country every single day that the short videos on this channel should fill up throughout the day. So I just really want to try to start converting people back over so we have one home. Right now, I feel like our family's split apart. I feel like we're in the process of getting a divorce. So I want to get us back together in one spot. So if you guys love the Bullhorn Betty show and you're on our Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories channel, please consider going over to our main channel, which is just Bullhorn Betty. So please get over there, sub it up, and we'll be back. I don't know if we'll be back today or not. I mean, I've got a lot of work here to do today. I got a lot of paperwork to do. I've got to modify a few things, and We'll see if by the end of the day I have enough information to run another show. But I've been finding if I find some information or breaking news, I don't mind just popping in here 10 minutes, 5 minutes or whatever, just to give you guys some updates. So just be plugged in. Yeah, set your notifications to all, and we'll see you soon. Don't forget to be fearless, folks. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe and kind to one another. We say no to online bullying and harassment and just being an overall garbage person. You have the responsibility of making your day either happy or bad. If you want to have a shitty day, don't take other people down with you. God bless.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.